Hi everyone, welcome to Think Smart Home. So today's video is a quick tutorial on how to install Studio Code Server on Home Assistant. The Studio Code Server is an add-on which will run a Visual Studio Code on your Home Assistant, which will allow you to modify YAML files straight from browser. So to install this one, click on Settings and then click on Add-ons. Now if you cannot see add-ons, that means your Home Assistant installation method is either not OS or is not supervised. I have created a video on how to install Home Assistant supervised on Synology NAS. I'll leave the link to that video down in the description below. You can watch that later if you want. Okay, we'll go back to the installation. So on this page, click on Add-on Store and then search for Studio. So it has found the Studio Code Server. Click on this one. Before we go and install it, let's look at the requirements. So there are a couple of things which we need to note down. The first thing is, if we're trying to run it on Raspberry Pi, then we need to make sure the operating system is 64-bit. Secondly, this add-on is heavy, so we need to make sure that we have at least 4 gigs of RAM in our system before we can go ahead and run this add-on. Okay, let's go back to Info tab again and then click on Install. Okay, so the installation is complete. Now before we go ahead and click on Start, there are a few toggles which we should enable. The first one is the watchdog. So this will basically restart the add-on if the Home Assistant reboots or add-on itself crashes. So we'll enable this one. And the second one is the show the add-on link, the sidebar, which is on the left side. So I will check this one as well. So I'll click on Start add-on. Okay, the add-on is started. So let's click on Studio Code Server on the left sidebar. So first time it runs, it just gives a warning. I will click and accept yes, I trust the authors. And now we can see the files and the folder trees on the left side. This thing will slowly populate when we will be adding more add-ons and more integration into our Home Assistant installation, because this is a fairly fresh installation on my test environment, so that's why it looks very empty. But as we go along, we'll add more and more contents in there. So now, just to show you a couple of features of Studio Code Server, this does understand YAML, so it will highlight the code and it will detect the typos and the errors if there are any. Let's say if I type anything in there, it's highlighting and it's telling us there is something which does not belong to the code in here. So as soon as I get rid of this, everything goes back to normal. That's one thing. The other thing is, as I mentioned earlier, that slowly when we keep adding more configuration and integration, this side will populate. It will have more files and folders in there. So if, let's say, if I want to search anything in there, we can just simply click anywhere in this bar and then click on Control F, and we can just simply search any file or the folder name in there. The same goes on the right side where the code is. So if we click anywhere and then click on Control F, and we can find any code within that file. So let's try to find themes. So it's just highlighting the matches. So this is quite powerful. This is not just the text editor, it's a full-fledged file manager as well. We can simply download a file, we can upload a file from the PC, we can create new folders, and then we can get rid of those folders as well. So this is a very powerful add-on, so I highly recommend you to use it if you can. Now if you cannot use Studio Code Server because of the limitation on your OS or on your hardware, let's say if you are having less than 4 gigs of RAM, then alternative to this one is a file editor. So to install file editor, go to settings again, click on add-ons and then click on add-on store and then search for file. Click on the file editor and then click on install. The add-on is installed, so before we can go ahead and click on start, we need to enable some toggles. The first one is again the watchdog. We need to enable this one so that it can restart itself, and the third one is to show the link on the right side on the sidebar. So I'll enable this one and click start. Okay, the add-on is started, so we can either start it from here by clicking on open web UI, or we can just click on the link on the sidebar. So as you can see, it's the simple and very lightweight text editor which we can use as an alternative to Studio Code Server. My first choice will always be Studio Code Server, but if you are limited because of the hardware or the software, then you can use the file editor, which is very simple and lightweight file editor which will also do the job. Alright, I think that's it for today's video. I hope you like this. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.